But early on, I knew this was the career for me, and really, what a great group we had. That's what it was all about. Friends to this day. Many of you guys here today, traveling from around the country. Lisa Preddy, Jim Heller, Steve Johnston, Tom Ford, and others hopped on planes to be here. June Kiercutter, Scott Eddy, Joe Slazak, Todd Chapman, T.C. McGuire, Chris Farina, of course. I mean, you guys here tonight, I know I'm not naming everyone, these are just some of my friends who are here tonight, and it's pretty incredible. I mean, we hung out all the time in high school, and we were just a close-knit group, and when many of us got together here 5 years ago, it was like we hadn't missed a beat, and that's pretty cool, when you can just pick up where you left off. So I pretty quickly felt that I was part of the team at the station and realized that's really the key to success, is teamwork. Whether it's doing a music show, the news, or calling a football or basketball game, it's teamwork. And I know you mentioned Mr. Seidelman, and Bill, you know, he's not here today, but Mr. John Seidelman was such a friend and mentor to all of us. He made us all the better. I mean, he made us better writers, better producers, and better people. So, Mr. Seidelman, we'll hope to see you in a few years here. When I got to Michigan State in the fall of 1982, I felt like my time at WSDP gave me a big advantage over a lot of people. I mean, I knew how to run a board, I knew how to write and produce, I knew how to be part of a team. Just a quick thing on my career path. While I was at WSDP, I did an internship at the old WABX in Detroit. Not for any credit, just answered request lines on a Sunday. Just thought that would get some experience. And while I was at MSU, I did internships at WSDS Radio in Ypsilanti and WKAR TV at MSU, and then at WXYZ in Detroit in the News Consumer Unit. And it was Channel 7 where I was hired about a month after graduating. And I liked it so much, I was there 31 years. So why? Because of the people. Just like at WSDP, WXYZ has a great team. I was hired in as an entry-level production assistant in the newsroom, ripping scripts, running, changing ribbons on the AP printers, and then I became a writer and then producer. I did the weekend newscasts, and then the 5 and 11 p.m. before becoming executive producer, and then assistant news director. I wrote and produced for the legendary and late Bill Bonds, and I had to be at my best writing for Bill, and he helped make me better. He could be critical, but he also appreciated good work. I remember one day he came out of the studio and said, "Who wrote this?" And I'm like, "I did." And he said, "Good job." And he said, that meant so much for my confidence going forward. Just something like that. Certainly I was part of a lot of big stories. About a year after I started, there was the crash of Northwest Flight 255. Happened on a Sunday night when we had a very small staff there, but a lot of people came into work that night. I'll never forget the blackout of 2003. We started hearing on the scanner about power outages all over, parts of the Detroit area, and then we heard part of the Northeast US was out, and we knew this was like a big deal. We were on the air for a long time in less than ideal conditions. With backup generators and no air conditioning. Our coverage went on for hours. Just about nobody saw it because nobody had power. I got to travel to Pasadena to produce our Rose Bowl coverage at U of M, maybe Washington State, so that was pretty cool. But perhaps most rewarding when I launched our Detroit 2020 initiative. I was lucky to be put with a veteran producer and photographer, and we produced hundreds of stories and specials looking at the challenges and victories facing the region. So that was pretty cool. And most recently, for the past few years, I've been senior executive producer of news, working with producers, reporters, and really the entire team, coordinating our day-to-day news coverage. And I just always made sure all voices were heard and everyone was treated with respect. As far as the student directors who are here tonight, and clearly the news business is not for everyone. I mean, because I missed many opportunities to get together with family and friends because I worked a lot of holidays and nights and weekends. So you do have to be prepared to pay your dues, but if you love this business, it really can be very rewarding. It's not a 9-to-5 job. In fact, I would have never really wanted a 9-to-5 job sitting at a desk. I just get bored too easily. So, pretty rewarding. In late September, I decided to retire from Channel 7. I will be doing some traveling and kind of see what the next chapter holds, but I felt the time was right. 31 years in the news business, it was a pretty good run, I thought. So what impact has WSDP had in our lives? I asked some of my friends who are here with me tonight so you can hear what they say. Steve Johnston, who's now a producer at CNN International in Atlanta. Steve said, WSDP gave me opportunity to learn technical skills, opportunity to learn teamwork, opportunity to learn that I could succeed, but most importantly, an opportunity to make friends who inspired me and changed my life. Well said, Steve. That's very true. Jeff Casson is now the Director of Technology at Hazlet Public Schools. Jeff said, in part, my experience at WSDP was valuable in that it helped me develop a sense of pride in the work I do. Knowing there was an audience, it instilled in me a desire to always do my best. It is undoubtedly an attribute that carried over and helped me succeed in my career. WSDP was a social outlet for me as well. It gave me a sense of belonging and allowed me to develop a circle of friends that I still keep in touch with today. And Scott Petty, back in there. Scott is a design engineer at Carousel Industries, and Scott said, anyone that wanted to work at WSDP was welcomed to do so in whatever manner best fit their skill set. This acceptance to the greater team showed that everyone could have an impact in their own way, and I've always tried to remember this while working with coworkers despite our differences. Regardless of the situation behind the scenes, when we go live, it's all about the listener. This approach applies to business as well. Always put a professional spin on your approach to support the customer's perception of your message. Know when to stop talking, which I will soon, know how to listen to the customer and relay their concerns along. Give them the satisfaction that they are heard. So, well put, you guys. I'd say that WSDP instantly gave me a feeling of belonging. I had a group of friends and have a group of friends that have something in common, and since we were always live, we always had to perform at the highest level. I remember how it felt to be new to the team, and to this day, how important it is to welcome someone new. For the students here tonight, I would say really embrace this time. You're really part of something special. For the alumni, how good is this, that years, decades later, we're all together here tonight celebrating 45 years of WSDP. See you in 5 years. Thanks.